Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is Bagger Dawn. It is April 6th at 9:33. Yes, it's a Saturday. You're saying, hey, Bagger, the market's closed, you knucklehead. Well, Bagger's going to be here all day today, all day tomorrow, doing something that I want to do. I want to be here, and I am working on our tools, making them better, making them sharper, and also getting some, if not actually all, of our proprietary indicators and strategies and radars out to those folks who have recently signed up under level 2 for an annual lease of everything we got. And they're going out this weekend. And it's going to take me basically much of the weekend to send out. We have that much stuff. We have a whole group of new folks at the monthly level. Yes, we have more monthly level members, and that's okay than level 2, but hopefully it's something that you can grow into. I wanted to talk to you today about something called average true range. Something that I think is overlooked. We've mentioned it a bunch of times, and I think it's so important. I wanted to dedicate this video to the subject of average true range and what it means to your intraday trading. Now, this comes as no surprise, or hopefully not a surprise to any of our members, but it might come to a surprise to you. And let me just say, though, if you have any questions about any tool or the markets, or you just want to have a better idea about who we are and what we do, we're not brokers, we're a mentoring site. You are more than welcome to call me anytime. In particular, today and tomorrow, I will be in the office and I will readily pick up your phone. I readily pick it up anyways, but certainly these couple of days. So whether you're a member or not, or just passing by and see this YouTube video and say, hey, I'm going to give Bagger Dawn a call and find out what he's up to, feel free. Now, I wanted to talk to you about average true range, but before I do, I want to tell you a little about my fishing experience. You see, I love to fish. I not only like to play golf, I like to fish. I like to do a lot of different things when I'm not doing what I also love, and that is working in and around the markets. When I was a kid, just north of Boston, we didn't grow up on a lake. We didn't grow up in the mountains. We grew up in the city. When I was less than 5 years old, I used to see those fishing shows down in Florida where we live now, and I'd see those beautiful boats and everybody catching great fish. And I probably wasn't too bright, but I had dreams. And myself and another young kid in the neighborhood, we had it in our mind that even though we couldn't leave the city block, we were going to go fishing. So we found a rope in my garage and a clothespin and tied it to a stick and walked out in the front of the house and, yes, went to the nearest storm drain and dropped the rope with the clothespin. That was the bait, and we were going to fish. And we sat there probably for a few hours, I don't know now, and talked about what we were going to catch. Well, obviously, we didn't catch anything. And you're saying, what a dumb kid. Well, today, living in Florida, I get to fish a lot. And really fish. Fish in the Gulf, fish in the Atlantic. And I like to do all kinds of different fishing. And, some may say, well, fishing is fishing. It's just, it is what it is. There's not anything to learn. If you go off the coast of the Atlantic and you're in, 200-300 feet of water or more, you can catch yourself a huge 1,000-pound tuna. If you're in the Gulf of Mexico and in deep, deep water off a structure, you might catch yourself a giant grouper. If you go into the flats off of the Gulf and you're in some shallow water, relatively shallow water, you may not catch a 1,000-pound grouper, but you might catch a 40-pound, 50-pound tarpon, and you might catch some smaller grouper, and you might catch some redfish and some good-sized snook. Beautiful stuff. If you're in the beautiful Toccoa River of North Georgia, which we love to visit, it's a tailwater, comes out of the bottom of Lake Blue Ridge, and you're standing in your waders and riffles, you got to be real sneaky. You got to be real quiet. You got to wear dark clothes, because the trout that are in there, and they're only maybe a foot to maybe sometimes, if you're lucky, 18, 20 inches, but they're real spooky. And if you cast a shadow over them, they'll dart and run the other way, because they think you might be a bird of prey getting ready to sink their talons into their back and carry them off. So they're real spooky, and it's a different type of fishing. It's like hunting. Do you know the market is a lot like that? It is, Bagger? How so? Well, I want to explain. Because if you're like many traders, which, unfortunately, but the day will come when you'll be able to trade full time. It will come if you work at it. For most, it's kind of recreational. It's a couple of days a week when they can get off, when they can get time. And what I want to explain to that trader, and that's fine, but the market is not always ready for you. You may be ready for it on a given day, on a given week, but it may not be the market that you traded a week ago or 2 weeks ago, certainly 3 months ago. Could be entirely different. And you've got to know that in advance, because if you show up at the Toccoa River with a big boat and the big motors and your tuna rod, you're gonna look a little silly, and you're probably not gonna catch much. Okay? Same is true in the market. Same is true. And you need something like a depth gauge, and that's average true range. Average true range. Well, what the hell is average true range? Well, pretty much kind of what it sounds. The market has a range each day, and we're looking at the S&P. This is the S&P 500. The range is the distance the S&P travels on a given day between the high and the low. Maybe from the low to the high, high to the low, but it's the distance between them. And then what the average true range is, it takes an average of 14 days to arrive at an average true range. Now you can adjust the average. You can just find out just what it did yesterday to get an idea. Now when the average true range is really deep, take this period right here. I'm going to draw a little line in here. Right here. From this point here, which was October 18th, to this point here, which was January 17th, the average true range was 39 feet and 13 inches. And higher. Sometimes it ran as deep as 52, 60 points. That was the average range. If you were fishing in there, the fishing was great. You were catching 1,000-pound tunas every other day. It was beautiful. If you went fishing this week, you know what the average true range is? Only the average true range is 27 feet. Much, much shallower market. As a matter of fact, let's take a snapshot of the range. I want the range. The low to the high yesterday was 12 points. The day before that, low to the high, maybe 15 points. Imagine that. So if you were fishing here and that was your recollection, and you show up with all the same trading gear, all the same trading expectations, you do everything the same that you did over here, and insanely, you can't get anything. I can't catch anything, Bagger. None of this crap works. Not our stuff. Not our stuff. Okay? It would be anybody's stuff, quite frankly. You have to adjust. You have to adjust. In the same way, when you go from the Gulf of Mexico to the Toccoa River, you go with a fly rod, get real quiet, and you wear dark clothes, and you get a tiny little fly, and you get a tippet that is like 8x, not 8x, 4x. 4x, 6x, something really, really thin. What they call almost frog hair. It's got to be so thin. They're so spooky. The markets can be like that too, folks. You need to know that. not just on your given day, but you need to know the market is not the same every day. It's not the same every week. There are a lot of tools to know. But just like fishing, you need to know how to drive the boat. You need to know how to use the depth gauge. You need to know all these different things, right? And if you don't like fishing, you're probably not going to bother with it much. And I don't blame you. You got to really like to do this. And you got to really have a passion for it. And you need to learn. You might even have to pay a guide occasionally. And as any fisherman knows, a fishing guide is worth their weight in gold. They will save you so much time, so much wasted money. Because when you go fishing, sometimes you be spending money on boat and travel and everything else. You decide to enter this market with real money. It can be a painful experience if you're not prepared. And so that's why we recommend to all of our members, especially the newer folks, to take your time to trade in sim, so that over the period of months, and maybe a sim has got to be months and maybe a year or more, to learn that the markets are different and to become, just more experienced before you toss your hard-earned money into the sea. Maybe you don't want to trade intraday when the average true range is under 30, or we go over here. It was even worse from August to October of last year. Imagine. And I was telling folks over here when we were up here, I'm like, guys, boy, it's been tough for the last August to October. I said, enjoy it while you can, because high volatility begets low volatility, and low volatility begets high volatility. And they're like, yeah, sure thing, Bagger. Well, here we are. We're in low volatility environment. Have to adjust your trading, have to adjust your fishing skills. And when do you want to buy? And, we can talk about specifics. When do you buy options? When do you sell options? You don't want to be buying them up here. I'm Bagger Don at StockMarketCaddy.com. There's so much more, but this is average true range. If you like this approach to the market, you want to learn these tools. I don't want to manage your money, not at all. I like surrounding myself with passionate people that want to learn how to fish. No, I'm not a fisherman. I got to learn from people that do fish. I like to surround myself with people that want to learn with us about the markets. Because guess what? The banks and Wall Street and Harvard and Princeton, they're not going to teach you this shit. They're just not. It's not what they're about. So if you're looking, we're here. Feel free to give me a call. Bagger Don, StockMarketCaddy.com, 813-758-8263. Have a great weekend. We are.